If you're looking for some new creative ideas for your 360 camera, this is the video for you. I'll be using the Insta360 X5 along with some new accessories like the Mic Air, GPS preview remote, and the throw pod. First up, let's talk about the gear. I'll be shooting on the Insta360 X5, which shoots 8K video and 11K time-lapse. And now it comes in satin white, which is what you're seeing here. I filmed this shot, as well as all the other non-time-lapse shots in this video, at 8K resolution and 24 frames per second. I'll also be using the GPS preview remote, which lets you monitor what you're shooting, as well as recording audio to the X5 with no receiver needed. It also has internal 32-bit float audio recording, and it has other functions for monitoring your sports activities and your other stats. Plus, you can trigger the power and the record of the X5 remotely. This is the throw pod, which is an auto-opening tripod for super quick setups. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just extend the selfie stick and then you drop it to open the tripod feet. It's a lot of fun to use and it's great for quick shooting. And I'll be using my favorite accessory of all time, the extended edition selfie stick. It's 3 meters or about 10 feet long, which lets me do high angle shots that look like a crane or a drone. For editing, I'll be doing some of the edits in the desktop Insta360 Studio app, but the majority of my editing will be done in DaVinci Resolve using the KVR Reframe plugin. This plugin is not as easy to install or use as the Insta360 Studio app, but it does allow me the finest control over the movement in my shots. You're probably going to be using a different software, so the most important thing is just to understand the overall concepts of reframing. Alright, now let's get to the tutorial. We're going to start with some simple stuff and work our way to the more advanced shots. If you just want to film yourself walking with a 360 camera, here's my advice. Use the extended selfie stick instead of the regular one and hold the stick at knee level, basically the same height as if you're walking a dog. This will allow you to use a narrower field of view in your reframing while still keeping your full body in the shot. So there's going to be less fisheye distortion and the shot will look more natural. Whenever I'm shooting with my X5, I'm always on the lookout for interesting shots looking straight up overhead. Sometimes what seems to be a normal or unimpressive scene can be a lot more interesting if you just look up. For this shot in an alley in Hong Kong, I rotated the X5 to put the stitch line between the buildings above me, in the sky where there was less important detail. Then I held my selfie stick just above my head to avoid getting myself in the shot, and I slowly ninja walked forward. And here's the resulting shot. This kind of shot would have been a lot more difficult with a camera on a gimbal because gimbals tend to drift in their framing, but a 360 camera is always locked and facing exactly where you set it. Here's another shot I did walking under a mural painted on the ceiling of a hotel. For this fountain shot, I extended the X5 over the water, faced one of the lenses up at the ceiling, and I put one of the streams of the fountain in the foreground to create parallax as I swung the camera over the water. And for this shot of the statue, I just extended the X5 in front of me and I waved it side to side. I didn't have to take a single step. Then in post, I added a pan in the opposite direction to keep that statue centered, and that made the shot feel like the camera was orbiting the statue. Here's a simple move that can give beautiful results. Just raise up your selfie stick as you follow somebody as they walk to a window and stop. I used the extended edition selfie stick here and I started with the X5 at a low angle. Then I raised it up to a higher angle while following Kobe to the window. Also, I kept my body as far back as possible to avoid getting myself in the shot. When I reframed the shot, I had to avoid showing myself, both in the back of the frame and also in the reflection in the window. So what I did was I started by panning off to the right a bit, and then I added a tilt up at the end to avoid showing my own reflection. And here's how the reframing looks in the KVR Reframe plugin in DaVinci Resolve. I set the keyframes at the beginning and at the end of the shot, and then I just used easing to smooth in between. One more thing I want to talk about here, the lighting is extremely important in a shot like this. Since the background is always in focus, we have to use lighting and contrast to separate our subject from the background. So for instance, look at this take that I did moments earlier when the sun was partially hidden behind the cloud. See how Kobe blends into the background? Now look again at the final take where the edge light from the sun separates her from the background. It looks so much sharper and clearer just because of the lighting. Okay, here's how to do an overhead drone type shot while sitting down. What I did here was first I extended the stick all the way. Then I sat down and I rested the base of the selfie stick on the bench next to me. Then I slowly rotated my wrist to wave the stick and the camera over my head. The resulting shot is this top-down perspective with a smooth camera movement. In reframing, I added a tilt up at the end so that you could see the city in the distance. Notice how I'm ignoring the camera in the shot, so I give the impression that somebody else is operating the camera instead of me. A spiral staircase creates a lot of creative options for a 360 shot. For this one, I had Kobe walk down the stairs while I slowly raised the X5 on the extended edition selfie stick. By moving the opposite direction from Kobe, it added more energy to the shot. This is called counter movement, moving opposite the direction of your subject. And I also made sure to keep one of the lenses of the X5 pointed straight down the entire time to avoid having the staircase cross that invisible stitch line. In reframing, I added some rotation and I added a tilt up to the city at the end. That tilt up was not just for aesthetics. My other reason for doing that was to avoid showing myself in the shot. If you want a really long extension pole, you can combine the extended edition selfie stick with the throw pod, which gives you this monstrosity. This assembly is not officially approved by Insta360 in any way, but it gets some pretty cool results. Here I started directly over Kobe's head and I raised up to reveal the garden maze surrounding her. Here's an advanced FPV drone type move using this extended selfie stick and throw pod combo. Watch closely because it's a bit trickier than it looks. As Kobe ran forward, I walked backwards with the X5. Then I raised up and started walking in the opposite direction. It's like I was drawing a big C shape in the air with the selfie stick. Here it is one more time from a POV perspective. The reframing of the shot was pretty tricky, but basically what I'm doing here is keeping Kobe centered by tilting down and panning to the right, and then tilting back up. You can also do really creative shots with the X5 just by putting it on a tripod. So here's an idea for an opening shot for your video if you happen to have a room with curtains on the windows. I put the X5 on the throw pod and set it down in the center, and then I set my exposure manually. I used the ND16 filter to expose for the bright cityscape in the distance. Then I checked my framing with the GPS preview remote and I triggered record. Then I drew the curtains completely closed and I let them open automatically, and then I walked into the frame and then Kobe walked into the frame after me. Now, since this is a 360 shot, in post, I was able to zoom it and rotate it any way that I wanted without seeing the edges of the frame. So that gave me unlimited options for a seamless intro shot for my video. And if you wanted this to be an ending shot instead of a beginning shot, you would just close the curtains instead of opening them, creating a nice natural fade to black. Here's a fun shot that you can do at a skate park or a bike park. I put the X5 on my extended selfie stick, but I left it contracted and just set it on the ground. Then I filmed the guy riding his bike around the rim. Now when you go to reframe it, this shot gets a lot more interesting when you remove all of the lens distortion correction, allowing it to go full fisheye for a 360 field of view. I also tilted it up to 90 degrees, so the reframing is looking straight up. And if you animate the roll parameter, you get this really interesting perspective. Now I'm going to do a quick comparison between Insta360's two new wireless mic options, the Mic Air and the GPS Preview remote. They both connect to the X5 with no external receiver needed. This is the Insta360 Mic Air. It's a tiny little button mic that you can mount using a magnet or a clip, or my favorite, this necklace. And then I put it under my shirt, just like that. Now you're hearing the audio from the Mic Air under my shirt on the necklace, and I'm using the extended edition selfie stick to put the X5 a good distance away from my body so we get this nice natural looking walk and talk vlog. Now for comparison, here's the audio from the GPS Preview remote. So this can attach to my shirt using a clip. So both the GPS preview remote and the Mic Air are good solutions if you want to do walk and talk vlogs like this. The preview remote is just a bit bulkier and it doesn't have that necklace attachment, but it has internal recording and you can also use it for other functions such as previewing your video, and it has the additional sports watch functions. Okay, so those are some of my tips for using the Insta360 X5 and some of the fun new accessories from Insta360. Links to gear are in the description, and please do subscribe if you want to learn more from me. So cheers, and I'll see you next time.